Hey everybody, after some tech issues, it's Blonde Blitz time. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to the Blonde Blitz. I am your host, Deb Whitcas. I have got a great show for you tonight. It's a little bit different, I have to admit, but it's so powerful. I cannot wait to get started. My NFL wife co-host has used the power of prayer to get her through tough times in her life. She most recently was a speaker at the Pro Player Prayer Conference last week in Tennessee, where attendees, they prayed for all the NFL players across all 32 teams. She also has used prayer to get through life when her ex-husband, former defensive end for the Green Bay Packers, KGB, Kabir Bajabiamila, joined what some may consider a religious cult. Aline Noyes is here to talk all about it, and I cannot wait. As for the rest of the show, my friend, I cannot wait to get him back here. AC Caswell, former wide receiver for the Raiders, joins for week 6 hot takes and to talk about his big $1 million mingle event coming up the end of October. Comedian Tom Dorham will be here to make us laugh. HGTV designer to the athletes, Shay Holland, is back to talk Travis Kelce's new show, Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity, as well as LA real estate. Are Travis and Taylor maybe buying some property in LA? And finally, betting expert Alex White gives her best bet. Commissioner Cooper's here to talk fantasy, and as always, former NFL tight end from the Titans and the Bucks, Ben Troupe, will be here for week 7 picks. Shall we do it? Shall we start? Let's start with headlines. Let's do these really fast. Teams combined for 689 points in 14 games in week 6. This marks the highest scoring average in a single week since week 17 of the 2020 season. 5 rookie quarterbacks started and recorded touchdown passes in week 6. Everyone knows how much I love my quarterbacks, especially the rookies. Washington, Jaden Daniels had 2 touchdown passes. New England's Drake May had 3 in his first career start. Denver's Bo Nix had 2. Saints' Spencer Rattler, also his first career start, had 1. And Chicago's Caleb Williams had 4. The 12 combined touchdown passes by rookies are the most in a week in NFL history. All right, guys, moving on to players of the week. You know, I love this one too. AFC offensive. Ravens running back Derrick Henry. He rushed for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. This marks his 20th career game with at least 100 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, joining Pro Football Hall of Famers Jim Brown, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Emmitt Smith. NFC Offensive Player of the Week, Bucks running back Sean Tucker. He totaled an NFL high 192 scrimmage yards, 136 rushing, 56 receiving, and recorded 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 receiving. Tampa Bay became the 5th team in NFL history with at least 300 passing yards and 275 rushing yards in a game, joining Miami, San Fran, Dallas, and Green Bay, dating back to 1962. A little bit crazy. AFC defensive player, Texans DE Will Anderson. Anderson recorded 8 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks, and 1 pass defense. NFC defensive Lions DB Brian Branch. He recorded 6 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. He became the first NFC player and 4th overall in the NFL this season with multiple interceptions in a game. Moving on to special teams, Colt punter Rigoberto Sanchez. He placed 3 of his 5 punts inside the 20-yard line, including 2 inside the 10-yard line with the final 4 minutes of the Colts win. And I love this next one. NMC Special Teams Bears tight end Cole Kmet. Yes, I said tight end. You heard that correctly. He served as the emergency long snapper in the Bears win. He successfully snapped on all 5 of Chicago's point after attempts, including 2 on the plays directly following his own touchdown receptions. Go Cole. All right, guys, that is your headlines for week 6. Now on to hot takes with AC Caswell. AC,
what's up?
How are you?
Man, I'm doing fabulous. What about you?
I'm good. We're talking football. Week 6 is behind us. We're going into week 7. It's good. It's good to have you back on the show. Always good to talk with you, and always good to see your face.
Thank you. You know, like I always say, thank you for making a platform for us athletes, right? And it's funny how time is going so fast. Like, man, week 7, come on, it's like we just did the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I feel like I just saw you like a month ago.
Oh my goodness! But wow.
Crazy. Well, let's start off with the Raiders, your former team. You know, they're now 2-4, and there's some speculation that they're tanking the season on purpose for a better draft pick. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
You know, it's such, and you love quarterbacks, so you know that, right? It's such a tricky system right now. I mean, we all know that. You know, when you get to this half of the season, you know, 7 weeks in, excuse me, it's crucial. You know, it's crucial. You got to start thinking. We all know that we're hurting for quarterback. That was no secret. Even as alumni, you know, we've been frustrated with the situation too, just because we all knew that we needed a quarterback. Now you lose Devontae Adams. You know, once again, me being a diva wide receiver, you know, it's like you have to feed that. And as hard as as much as it's hard to say this, you know, we have to tank. I mean, we need a quarterback, and you know, look at the quarterbacks that went off the board last year, and we thought that we were going to get one, you know, honestly, but it didn't fall that way. So, it's rough. It's rough.
Yeah, it's definitely a rough season. I mean, so another person. Eagles are having a little bit of a rough season too. They're 3-2.
Take Jalen Hurts right now too. We'll send y'all whatever we got. Just send Jalen Hurts our way. We'll be happy.
Right. So, I don't think he's going anywhere. Nick Sirianni, maybe though. Nick Sirianni last week had a few, you know, fighting words, I guess people were saying, with some fans on the sidelines. Do you think the pressure to win is getting to the head coach?
Well, you know, I look at it like this. That's the name of the game. We're here to win, right? We always talked about it when it came to Al Davis, God rest his soul. Is when he gives us the best and put us in the best, our job is to win, hands down. So every head coach knows that is the pressure of being a head coach. You got to win. Whatever adjustments you got to make, you know, whatever you have to do to get that W, you got to do it, right? And I think the frustrating part is, you know, every week is different. Every team is different. Every game plan is different. A head coach job is to come in to execute that game plan. Hey, what do we do? How do we? So yes, it's a lot of pressure.
And also too, I mean, the Eagles fans can be super rough, as we all know, and they were heckling him from the sidelines. And I think he, you know, just had enough of it and kind of lost his cool a little bit. But he did apologize, and you know,
it's like okay, no disrespect when I say this. You guys are the media, right? You want us raw right off the field, right at halftime, right when the motions is. You want that because that's real, you know. Not after we get a chance to think and process and let me say the right things. And I just think in the heat of the moment, like anything else, hey, he's human. He takes this serious too. This is his job. This is his team. His job is on the line. The pressure is there. And I just think he was just being a coach who was emotionally involved and said, hey, you know, we experience it all the time, you know, especially when we were Oakland Raiders, you know, the fans, they'll let you have it straight up. So, Professionally you're not supposed to engage, but what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, another head coach, Robert Sarlo, was fired last week from the Jets. Do you think that was a correct move, or is it too early in the season?
You know what? To be honest with you, excuse me. You know, I look at it a little bit differently by saying, okay, is someone truly a head coach, or is he a great defensive coordinator, or is he a great, offensive coordinator? And for me personally, just being an offensive guy, right? I think he's a great. I just me personally, I don't think he's a great head coach, but that doesn't mean that he's not a good coach as a position coach. And I just think with all the, once again, the pressure, right? Having Aaron Rodgers looking over your shoulder, who is a quarterback, who is a coach within himself. Do I think he probably could have finished out the season? Yes. But it's a tough industry when everybody's trying to win right now,
Absolutely.
and,
Yeah.
and I
So much is on the line, like right now.
Oh, it's on the line for sure. And I think that you knew that you were going to try to trade for Devontae Adams to kind of give you a chance. And I think maybe he should have had that chance, being a head coach with those type of tools that he has around him now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to get your take on that too, with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. As a former wide receiver, how important is that connection with your quarterback that they had before, and now obviously will hopefully have again for the Jets?
That connection is everything. It's just like a center. It's just like a center and a quarterback, right? That bond, that connection, that timing, it's everything. I mean, people can say whatever they want to say, and I think when you look when Derek Carr, and Devontae Adams, can't look at the positive, look at the negative. Hey, the Raiders, we went out and got Devontae Adams, great relationship with Derek Carr. Now the business side of that, hey, Derek Carr, we gave you everything you wanted, your best friend, your partner, you got the timing, there was no way we shouldn't have won, right? Like that's the business part of it. And then here we go. Now they go their separate ways. But how crucial was that timing, right? I mean, we know that it takes more than two players, but I think that's such an integral part. And I would love to see the Jets quickly implement that relationship, get that timing back, right? We know that Aaron has lost a step or two. We know that, right? But I think with the relationship they have, they can make those adjustments to really try to go forward.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said last week, actually on my hot takes, or 2 weeks ago, they've been a very Jekyll and Hyde. We're not quite sure what Jets team we're getting on Sunday, but now I think with Devontae Adams, it's going to be a whole other ballgame.
Yeah. I mean, hands down, you're going to be more effective. I mean, we all know that, and I think that they can rekindle that time. And it's going to take time like anything else, right? I mean, you can't just think because someone has talent, you just plug them right in. They still got to learn how to play together. They still got to learn how to make adjustments. And, going from, playing in indoor to outdoor, playing all these things have the factor of everything. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. We sad that we lost them, but at the same time, hey, I'm not sticking around if I'm a wide receiver in this position because I'm not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, something I'm excited about is the $1 Million Mingle, your event.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about it?
Ooh, wow. Here we go again. And, I always say every year, like, here we go again. But, we were thinking about the other day, Deb, and we said, we started the $1 Million Mingle in 2006. We started $1 Million Mingle right in Scottsdale, Arizona. And really, it became our number one private luxury fundraiser where we raise millions of dollars for charities all over the world by doing great luxury events and seeing everybody come together from professional athletes to celebrities, the wealthy, the community, for this greater cause, and to see that everybody's having such an amazing time. It's funny to see it grow now. It's unstoppable, right? And
You've got polo, right?
Oh.
Luxury cars, celebrities, NFL players. I mean, I've obviously been several times. I'm bummed I can't make it this year. But that work thing has to happen. but I'll be there next year. But yeah, who's the charity that you have picked this year?
So what we did, the fun part about this brand too is every year it gives us a chance to select about 5 to 10 different charities. Some we continue to hold on because we're not finished helping those guys be successful in fundraising, and
Mhm.
then we also picked up about 5 new charities. One is called Real Fathers, which is such a great charity. Powerful testimony behind the founder of Real Fathers, where the mission behind Real Fathers is that a lot of these men have lost their wives and they have to figure out how to raise my family by myself as a man. And there wasn't a lot of resources out there. And people forget to realize, like, hey, as a parent, it takes two. And when you lose that other half, and people are so used to, the father is not in the picture and this and that. And these fathers are stepping up and saying, hey, I don't know how to do this because I'm the provider. I go to work, I come home and he was one of those guys that lost his wife and had to raise his 3 daughters. And he said, AC, there's no resources for us. I
Yeah.
didn't know what to do. I was asking for help. How to do my daughter's hair
Hey,
and how to
yep.
and blah blah blah.
Rest. It's a
And,
thing.
and
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough for a man.
and before we let these men and fathers quit and give up, we're going to provide resources, right? So I was touched by that, and that was moving to me. If you don't know this already, if I don't mind, my father-in-law, unfortunately, he just passed away a couple of months ago.
Sorry.
But he raised his kids by himself,
Mhm.
and I was a part of that because my wife was a part of that. So that touched me. And then we also have one of my good friends, Chris Nielsen, former Major League Baseball player. He had a great testimony of his livelihood. He started a foundation called Arizona Smashers, where he goes in and take all these underprivileged kids that has a little bit of talent and really build them into be something special as a student athlete, giving them the resources that they need. Um, and of course, we have another foundation, Swimming to Save Lives. As you know, in Arizona, we lose a lot of drowning victims, young kids and babies to drowning,
Okay.
and we want to do something about it and say, hey, how do we bring awareness? And if anything, pay for these kids swimming lessons, right? Who can't
Mhm.
afford swimming lessons. You got to know how to swim in Arizona because of the heat.
Yep.
So, and along with Rise and Dream Foundation, Michelle Cares Foundation. So yeah, we're excited about our charity causes.
Amazing. And where can our audience buy tickets and get more information?
Yeah, well, we're close to selling out as we do. You know we do.
Always. Yeah.
Thousands of people are
Yeah.
coming
Guys,
in. We
get it
tell
quick. It's like
some
literally
people.
go on the website right now because
Honestly, guys, I tell you right now, log on to mbmexperience.com. Once again, this is not just an Arizona event. People are coming in from all over the world, different
I
cities,
fly
different states. They fly in. We stay at the resort with us. But go into mdmexperience.com. I know that we have a few tickets left. But guys, celebrity brunch and comedy show that we're going to do on Sunday, our luxury parties, the private black card party, polo on Saturday, after party, business networking seminar going on. So we really built this thing, Deb, to where it caters to every market that's coming in town. You
in.
get the B, you get the networking, you get the connections. We even built the world biggest single lounge for singles. Come on now,
Oh, all
right? Come on now. I
right
mean,
now.
if you single want to mingle, come to
Ready
the
to
Million
mingle.
Dollar Mingle. So now we have singles coming in from all over the world just to be a part of that part of the event. So fun event, red carpet, as you know, Hollywood style. It's just gonna be a
Like I said, I'm super bummed I'm missing it. I will be there next year. All right, AC, I'm going to have you help bring in our next guest. You're also a big believer in prayer. Every morning, I actually wake up to for a text from you, uh,
sure.
a Bible verse, and I appreciate it so much. And it makes me smile, and it's an amazing start to my day. Today was, dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. So, yeah, I just wanted to read that and kind of, to transition to our next guest, Aline Noyes. So thank you so much, AC. I will see you soon.
Hey, thank you so much once again. Hey, we'll see you at the mingle. Okay, thank you.
See you guys. All right, guys, as I said at the top of the show, my special guest, my NFL co-host this week, has used prayer and her faith in God to get through some tough times in her life. She just came back from the Pro Player Prayer Project conference last week. It was started last year when Damar Hamlin went into cardiac arrest on the field. This year, attendees have prayed for all NFL players on all 32 teams. Prayer was also needed when her 16-year marriage ended to former Green Bay Packer great Kabir Bajabira-Milla. I just messed up that name. He goes by KGB, obviously, when he started following what she calls a toxic religious teaching, and some may call it a cult. Just a warning, some of these things that we discuss may be too sensitive to some viewers. I always wanted to make this a family show, but as we know, football encompasses family dynamics like no other sport. And I like to present every message and angle that I can about football. So this means a lot. Here's Aline Noyes to tell her story. Welcome to the Blonde Blitz. How are you?
Hey, I'm not blonde, if that's okay.
Okay, you do not need to be blonde to be in the Blonde Blitz. You look amazing.
Thank you.
You were recently one of the speakers at it's a wonderful event in Tennessee called the Pro Player Prayer Project. A little bit of a tongue twister there, right? Can you tell me about the event?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it was amazing. It actually stemmed from last year. Hamlin, the guy who what's his name?
Hamlin.
Okay,
Damar
Lamar.
Hamlin.
Okay, so when he went down last year, everybody's like thoughts, prayers. Well, Dan Orlovsky was bold enough on TV at the risk of losing his job to say, you know what, I'm just gonna pray. And so this project kind of stemmed from that, and to talk about the importance of prayer, obviously in a situation like that. So last year was the first one. And so Darren Gray from Signature, he put it on. He knows my story. He knows what happened with, we'll get into that. But he asked me if I would pray on behalf of the wives and even the children of NFL. And of course I was like, yeah, I'm down for sure. I mean, Tim Tebow, he spoke, Dan Orlovsky spoke, Lewis Sharp, he used to play. I know he had 3 Super Bowls, but he talked about, we all had an association, obviously, to mental health and, how prayer is important.
How many players were you praying for?
Well, everyone. So there was 32 tables. Okay. And so there was a list and so about 3 or 4 people per table, the list of every player, but on the practice squad, even on like reserve. And so we all alternated and prayed for each person by name. And so I was hoping for the Packers. I didn't get the Packers. I was with the Jets. So I did get to pray for Aaron though. So he was my little.
You need a little bit right now, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just prayed for them. And so it was like an hour of prayer. So there was a live stream and then we went off air and we were all praying. And so, yeah, so each player, so I think it was like 1,600 and something players by name in the name of Jesus praying for them. It was awesome. It was really cool.
And prayer is obviously so important. I'm sure all of the players appreciate it. Even Aiden Hutchinson got rushed off of the field this last week because he broke his tibia, had to have emergency surgery right after the game.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, prayer is obviously very, very, very important in NFL football. What is your past involvement in the NFL, and how important has prayer been to you to kind of get you through the ups and downs of life?
Yeah. So I used to be married to a Green Bay Packer, and man, prayer in the.
By the way, I was gonna say not only a Green Bay Packer, one of the biggest Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. I mean, he did great.
Still holds all-time leader in sacks. Yes.
Yes. So prayer got us through a lot. One, he was a very outspoken Christian. We prayed for athletes. We prayed for teammates. We brought them to something called Professional Athletes Outreach. So we were all about the Lord. Now, when things shifted, and I would have to say that after football ended, unfortunately for us, there was a religious teaching.
Mhm.
It was toxic. It was I believe it was false religion. It was back to the Old Testament. It was back to, the Old Testament law. It would have been me having to cover my head. I couldn't wear makeup, or I was a Jezebel. So just polygamy was now okay. We were property. I mean, just a bunch of stuff. And
Wow.
so yeah, so prayer protected my kids and I. Prayer got me to that place of just feeling like I just sucked as a wife. I literally wanted to die. I had no voice. I was not creating the image of God. I would be one of many wives. Just a lot of toxic stuff. And so we had to step away in the
And
hopes that it would come
you and
back
your
around.
7 kids, right? Correct?
Yes, we had 7 kids at the time. I didn't know I was actually pregnant with number 8. So he wanted to take us to the headquarters of where it was. And there was that time where like my kids would hear things, and so one of them came back to me and said, "Yeah, Mom, they're gonna pray over you, and they're gonna pray the Jezebel spirit out of you." So I knew it was gonna be a situation that if we decided to go, it was not gonna be good. And so I was like, we can't go. And so yeah, through that, and like I said, we had to escape. He continued in the hopes, when we did that in the hopes that he would come to his senses, see what was at, like what was at stake. And he chose to keep following it. And he's kind of one of their big, well, recruiters for players, but also he's kind of moved up the ranks, which I believe is why, these guys, I think I put it like this, it's like it's a familiar, warped, just it's for them, it's kind of like probably one of the easier things to just go, gosh, there's familiarity here. Like it's about rank, it's about barking orders, it's about, the respect of the man is very idolized. I mean, polygamy for those guys who, hey, it's conscience free, have as many as you want. And so that's what it was, and that's not what we agreed upon or married upon in the beginning. And so to me, that was a breaking of a covenant. And I just felt like, okay, it was time to step back. But no, prayer got us through the dark times. Prayers lifted us up to get through it.
Prayer got you through a lot, and now you're helping others as well.
When I was going through it, my prayer was like, God, if I have to go through this, like get glory, like make good out of it. Like I just felt like the devil was trying to rob me. And I'm like, Lord, let's do something about this. And it literally took this long. I mean, it was like, it was surviving to stabilizing to thriving. And so now in this, it's like, okay, now it's time to start sharing.
You've written books to encourage women. Your first one, Sideline No More, Broken Chapters, and your latest, Rise Up, Lady Bellator. Can you kind of break down each one for me?
Yeah, so when I was like, okay, God, like when I felt like he gave me like the go to write, I'm like, all right, I'm writing down everything. Like I was gonna tell my story.
Yeah.
God's
Well,
like, no,
it's a story.
yes, it is. And
Yeah.
I've been very vague in it. So this first one, I literally felt like he was saying, Eileen, you have to approach these women where you're building trust. And so the book Sideline No More, it talks about the transition into the game. It's a relationship with your spouse, the dynamics of like, him being the man, and how do you connect as a wife when he has to, like, he's getting all these like accolades, sign the autograph, you're great, but he has to go home to you and saying, hey, can you help me with the kids, or help me with take out the trash, or pay the bills. I mean, there's a dynamics to that's it's very competitive to feel like, okay, how can I be his number one cheerleader and support him, but also I'm not a fan, like I'm not like the one that's always going to be like, oh, you're the best thing ever all the time. And so I talk about that. I talk about the relationship with family expectations, tickets, money, boundaries. I talk about my own shopping addiction. Then I talk about the transition out of the game. So these are all areas that I know that every wife would connect with and understand. And the interesting thing is, as I wrote that book, trying to get it to these wives who I'm so far removed. I mean, it was 2001 to 2009 when we played, or when he played. So I'm like, how do I reach these women? So as I'm slowly getting that seed out, this book that other people who knew me were just reading just because they knew me. They're like, I think this is not just for, the athlete world. And so I started writing the other one, thinking that it would just be different tweaks here and there. And for there's a lot of things that are similar, but I was able to add a lot more and then make it to like the general public of women. And so it's been great feedback to know, like, okay, like, yeah, like you as a wife, as a mom, it's not about, like being the best martyr and sacrificing everything and totally denying yourself. It's like, no, so this allows you to be what's needed in so many different ways. And it's just living fully who God called you to be.
Sideline No More is for NFL wives. Broken Chapters is for all women, and so is
Rise Up Lady. I was just right. Rise Up Lady Bellator is what I just described. Broken Chapters is actually 21 different authors, and so I'm one of them, chapter 20. And so I get to talk about just one chapter of what happened and just how there's broken chapters to your life, and that God uses those. So.
And you also have a podcast.
Yes.
Tell me about the Unsidelined Life.
Yes. Okay. So it started out in my brain. I was just thinking again, how do I reach these women? How can
I about NFL wives, right?
Yes. Yeah. So as I'm calling the ones I knew, as I'm calling like, or messaging different Packer wives, I was like, oh my gosh, as I am talking to this one or asking this one, this is the dynamics, this conversation that we're having. So like, so I mean, I have Emily Nelson on there. So we talk about Midwestern living. I have June McKenzie. Her husband was drafted to the Raiders. He ended up coaching, doing player personnel at the Packers, and then being a GM for the Raiders. And so there's different dynamics with each person I talk to. The one I just did, her narcissistic situation. And so every time I was able to, talk to a wife, it was a different conversation. It was like, oh my gosh, this is the reality of us. I do one interview with an NFL wife a month, and then I'll do another interview with another woman who's just, like I said, like a Lady Bellator.
What is your advice, to women out there who want to be a Lady Bellator?
Don't feel bad if there's something stirring in you and pricking in you, or like a dream that you've had. If it's still there, pursue it. You can do it, and it doesn't mean you have to neglect other things. It means that you can start just nurturing it and seeing it, and you're going to be more alive for the other things that you want to do, to be a better wife, to be a better mom, to have the extra spark. Your kids are going to see it, your family's going to see it, and it's just going to be good energy that is going to be a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So don't feel bad like you're selfish or anything like that. So I would have to say that's the advice I'd give.
Arlene, thank you so much for coming on the Blonde Blitz.
Yes,
where can everyone find you? Where can we find your podcast? Where can we find your books?
Yes, well, ladybellator.com. That'll link you to, the podcasts and books. You can also go to the unsidelined.com. Find me there, Facebook, all the things that I don't directly deal with, because I'm not tech savvy, but you'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all the things.
All right, guys, my journalistic instincts took over on this one a little bit. The aim here was not to cast judgment on any particular group, FYI, but to help people make well-informed decisions. I just have to say this to wrap it up. If you're a family member experiencing losing a loved one to a cult, there are several groups online to help people leave cults.com and culteducation.com. So guys, stay safe, and like Aline, stay prayerful. All right, guys, so what better person to segue into some lighthearted and fun? The comedian who's also a big believer in faith. He's about to brighten up the Blonde Blitz. Hey, Todd, can you help me out here?
Thank you, Deb. I am a believer in Jesus and in the power of prayer. And also, I am a comedian, and it's every comic's dream to perform directly after a prayer meeting. So thank you, Deb, for making my dreams come true. I'm Todd. I'm a former junior college and Division III football player, which entitles me to share with you my opinions about the NFL. And this week, I'm excited to bring you my favorite new game show. This game show is called Deshaun Watson or, where you get to pick whether or not you would like Deshaun Watson or whatever the amount of money the Cleveland Browns are paying Deshaun Watson in some other item. Deshaun Watson's salary this year alone, $46 million. Who else could they have gotten with their money? Saquon Barkley at $12.3 million, Derrick Henry in the backfield at $8 million, and still had $25 million left over. Ooh. So, would you rather have one Deshaun Watson or Derrick Henry plus Saquon Barkley plus $25.6 million? There are 359,606 roughly citizens of the Cleveland metro area. What if you're one of those people who just doesn't care about football? I got you. Would you rather have one Deshaun Watson valued at $46 million or $46 million worth of Chipotle burritos, which is 1,141,722 burritos? How many burritos with guac? I thought you'd never ask. 933,062 burritos with guacamole. Now, what if you're the man himself, Deshaun Watson? So what matters to you? Well, we know Deshaun Watson cares about massages because he gets them quite frequently. And there are hardworking people in the city of Cleveland who could use a break. They deserve a massage too. So Deshaun Watson, would you rather have your $46 million salary or provide 79,585 premium luxury massages to the blue-collar workers of Cleveland at Marengo Luxury and Spa located 1 mile from the Cleveland Stadium? This is not a paid promotional ad for the Marengo Luxury Spa, although we hope Deshaun Watson will find it in the goodness of his heart to provide massages for the good people of Cleveland there. That spa has 43 operating hours per week. So if one person got 32 massages in a week, or they got 1,677 massages per year, they would be able to get 47 and a half years worth of massages, or one Deshaun Watson. I hope the entire city of Cleveland can really think of what they could be doing with the same amount of money that they're paying Deshaun Watson.
All right. Thanks so much, Todd. My next guest, HGTV designer to the athletes, Shay Holland, is here to talk Travis Kelce's new show, Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity? And LA real estate with NFL players. Are Travis and Taylor maybe buying a home here? Shay, where you at?
Hello, everybody. I'm Travis Kelce, and welcome to
Class is in session for Travis Kelce's new game show, and we've got your hall pass. We were on set as guest of the production, and the Kansas City Chiefs star isn't the only NFL player involved in the show.
This thing, let's go, man. Oh, hell yeah. Man, like I just went over the middle for a pass.
As we also reported, Travis is now confirming this news about Taylor Swift.
Taylor even made a little appearance. Don't get messy in front of your daughter. You're going to regret it.
With his Hollywood career blowing up, Travis is also adding to his real estate portfolio. The couple reportedly picked up the keys to an estate 2 hours north of LA. He may want to be closer to the studios and gated communities popular with NFL players.
See how I get ready for set?
Off the field, private coaching helps the three-time Super Bowl champ nail his rookie roles. And while he does have a teleprompter for hosting, he scores big points for his winning moves.
It could be true or it could be all right.
As long as I'm healthy enough to get out there and make a difference and help a team win, man, I don't see myself hanging it up anytime before that.
That'll quiet a few folks as they go right to him for his longest reception.
Hey, Shay.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? I love the pink.
I got the memo.
Yes. How much fun did we have on the show?
Oh my gosh. You know, I'm going to admit that I was not a huge Travis Kelce fan before that day that we went there, just because I'm from San Francisco. And so, of course, I was a 49ers fan. And well, we all know what happened last year. But I was really impressed at just how personable he was. Yes. And how friendly he was and just how down to earth. I was really surprised, I have to admit.
Yeah, and I've interviewed him before at different Super Bowls, and I know, very well spoken, and I knew he could do the hosting thing. It's hard. It's not easy to do, but I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, and his sense of humor. I will say it was interesting. I thought he was a little bit leaner than I expected. I think because, you always see with the pads on and everything. And so that was about the only thing that surprised me, that and how well he did as a host. Just, being a host ourselves, we're constantly looking. And that's not easy being a game show host. You've got your audience and your contestants, and you've got the teleprompter, and you've got somebody in your ear giving you directions. So I know he's had a lot of coaching, but really did a good job.
I agree. And so funny, I got a phone call today from my 7th grade English teacher's daughter who saw me on the show.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
She was like, yeah. So I was like, it was a little crazy even today. I was like, wow, that's a little crazy that we know I was in the audience. But let's talk any rumor. Travis has signed a 2-year deal with the game show. He's got multiple things going on, TV, film projects in the LA area. If he moves to LA, what areas of town are most popular with NFL players?
Rumor has it, and I was not able to confirm this yet, that he and Taylor did pick up the keys to a place up north of here. That would be Montecito, Santa Barbara area is my guess. And the reason being, there's a lot of gated communities up there. And that's a great place for privacy. That's where people like Oprah Winfrey live, Jennifer Aniston. You've got some of the, the big A-listers up there, but it's also really private and far enough outside of LA. You don't get people like showing up on your doorstep because it's a gated community. I know they've been spending time at her place in Beverly Hills, but the problem there is that Beverly Hills is not a gated community. It's got great security, a lot of laws and a lot of rules, but people know your address. They can come up and stand on the sidewalk and wait until you come out. So you don't get a lot of privacy there. So that'll be interesting to see where he ends up when he does, post-retirement. I think he'll just kind of probably rent for right now, maybe add to his portfolio here in LA at some point. I'm sure he's looking. He's been known to spend a lot of time in Malibu. And that's my bet as to where I would put him to buying a place.
Okay. I know a lot of the NFL players live in the South Bay too. I mean, Alex Mack played for San Francisco. Josh Rosen is from Manhattan Beach. A lot of the Matt Leinart too also lives in the South Bay area. A lot of the Rams and Chargers rent here too. So do we maybe
there's
see
definitely been a lot of action in the South Bay, obviously because of the bolt going in the stadium for the Rams that they're sharing with the Chargers down there. They did the draft house down in Hermosa Beach this year. The one thing I think with Hermosa Beach, you don't have the gated communities. You don't have the ability to get a ton of acreage down in the South Bay until you go maybe down towards Palos Verdes. And I just don't see that being quite Travis's vibe, just because I think he wants to be also near the action of LA. We know he likes to party. So I think that's why I'm still going to put him up towards a little bit closer to the action. He's been known to spend time along the coast and at Nobu Restaurant. And so I think him being a landlocked guy right now, obviously with Kansas City, I think he's from Cleveland. When you're from those places and you get a chance to be in California, you're going to want to be at the ocean for sure. So somewhere up and down the coast. You've also got in there, a lot of the Rams especially are up in Calabasas area, Hidden Hills. That's mostly known for the Kardashians, but come on, whatever. We're more interested in the NFL players at this point. And again, that goes back to those gated communities that you don't really have in the South Bay. And what's great about those is it gives them the privacy of not everybody being able to sit outside your doorstep waiting until you walk the dog or, go empty the trash.
Right there. Yep.
And the fans will do that. Tour buses will come and sit outside your driveway. Like, unless you've been in LA and seen that, people don't really have any idea of what that's like when, all you're trying to do is dump your garbage and you've got a tour bus sitting there.
Right. What are some of the things that NFL players look for when they're looking at luxury properties in LA?
The number one thing is privacy for sure. And having enough land where you, like with Taylor's property, I know she ended up getting approval to build. I don't even know how high her gate is. My neighbor's actually an NFL player as well, and his gate's probably 10 to 12 feet. So I just met him for the first time the other day, literally, because the fences are so high. So privacy and security being the other big one. The advantage of those gated communities is you have that security built in my neighborhood even. I'm not in a gated community, but we have 24-hour patrols driving around, I think because there has been an influx of kind of high net worth individuals that have moved into the area. I think they actually pay for the security themselves. And so you already have that built in a gated community. I think they're also, somebody like Travis is going to want some acreage. He's going to want land for a huge pool. We know he loves his pool. He just had to move out of his house in Kansas City because of the fans and move into a new place. And one of the things that place really has is a beautiful pool. He's known to love his outdoors, hanging out, have a beer around the pool or whatever. So they want some place that has a view. You get that up in, from Malibu and Hidden Hills and Montecito. All of those views are both ocean and mountain. And so they're just spectacular. For anyone who's never had a chance to drive up Highway 1, you've got to do it one day. Put it on the bucket list. Just put it on the bucket list, because it's just a different feel, but you're so close. Also, if you want to go to the clubs in LA, or you want to go down to SoFi or Bolt Stadium, and it's also close to several airports. So it'll be, our cost of, is nothing for somebody like Travis Kelce. We're talking, I'm sure he's going to drop 20 million on a place versus, for most of us, obviously, we can't even imagine trying to do that. So it's been fun just to kind of watch the journey of their portfolio and real estate and his portfolio. I think he said he wants to play as long as he's healthy. Who knows how long it'll be. I think he's had 7 years in the NFL. The average NFL career is 3 years, 2.5 years? 3 years. It's incredible.
Yep, so surpass that.
Yeah, so I expect that we'll see how soon he gets here. It'll be fun to have him in LA, though.
And we're going to keep checking in with you if you get any more scoop.
I'll keep looking. We'll have to get back in the audience again and see what we hear.
Yeah. All right, Shay, thank you so much for coming on this week. Where can our audience find you?
Shay Holland Official is a great place to find me. One quick shout out to AC. It was so fun to see him on here.
Yes.
And to Sarah Wimmer, our friend that introduced us to AC. So he had a lot of great things to say. Great show tonight, Deb.
Thank you so much. All right, well, guys, it's time to get into some sports betting coming from the South Point Casino in Las Vegas, betting expert Alex White. What's your best bet for week 7, Alex?
Blitz, Alex White here from the South Point studio. Hope everybody had a good week 6 in NFL. Hopefully you were on the favorites. Looking ahead to week 7, I am going with the dog. I'm actually going to do something a little bit different today. It is a same game teaser. A teaser is when you put 2 things together and then you get 6 extra points to kind of help you. Odds, you're about -125. So here's what we're going to do. Baltimore going to Tampa Bay, Monday night game. I know Deb and the crew will take care of you and cover all of the Sunday games. So Monday night game, it's a big game for these two. Right now, Tampa Bay getting 3.5. The total is 48.5. We're going to do a same game teaser. Tease Tampa Bay up to 9.5. Get past that touchdown. And we're going to tease the total down to 42.5. Both of these offenses have been outstanding, scoring on 33% of their drives. And both defenses about average right now. I think Tampa Bay can hang around in this one. Like the 3.5, love the 9.5. So you're going to put the 9.5 with over 42.5. It's about -125. Bet 125 to win 100. Good luck to all of you. Can't wait to see you next week. Can't wait to be live on the Blonde Blitz once again. Deb, everyone, have a great week.
Well, you can't talk betting without talking fantasy. Commissioner Cooper, what you got for us this week?
We're on a mission, guys. We're on a mission, guys.
Hello. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing well. Hello. Apologize, my camera wasn't working, but I'm excited to be here on the Blonde Blitz, back from the northern region of Canada. So I am definitely nice and warm back here in Florida, thankfully. But who cares about what I'm doing? Let's talk and let's make some people some money. Thank you, Alex. I always get some good betting advice from her. All right, so here's for my ultimate DFS lineup. And if you notice, I got a little wrestling belt on the side of my shoulder. Reason why is your boy is like the champ when it comes to ultimate DFS as of late. Been hitting some big money props. And this week, I'm looking for some good value as always when you do your ultimate DFS lineup. Baker Mayfield, and he is not very expensive, which to me is kind of crazy. Having an insane year this year, going against Baltimore, who is 30th against fantasy QBs. So really nice value there at $6,500. You got Tony Pollard going against Buffalo. Now, it looks like a tough matchup, but if you haven't watched any Buffalo Bills game, they are soft as a baby's pillow up in the middle. So Tony Pollard could have a nice day. They're 31st against fantasy running backs. Antonio Gibson this week. I know a few people tried to put him in last week. It was not a good start for him, but I think you're going to have a little bit of bounce back this week going against Jacksonville, who's 25th against fantasy running backs. I like Jordan Addison this week against Detroit. 29th against fantasy receivers, and a matchup you'll probably see a lot of back and forth. So I like him as well. Wan'Dale Robinson against Philly. We love the Eagles, so hopefully wife don't have me on the couch tonight, but they're 26th against fantasy receivers. And who else is Daniel Jones throwing to at this point other than Malik Neighbors if he's back this week, which he should be. But regardless, Wan'Dale Robinson was getting lit up prior to the injury, so I like him this week. Christian Watson, back from the injury last week, got in the end zone in a matchup you would think you'd see a little back and forth with C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love. Houston 16th against fantasy receivers, but keep in mind, Christian Watson's not going to see a bulk of the big coverage. A lot of that going to Jaden Reed. So you like to see Christian Watson in this matchup. Kyle Pitts against Seahawks. 28th against fantasy tight ends. I know we always expect that big Kyle Pitts game at some point. Hopefully this is the one, but they are 28th against fantasy tight ends. So I do like him in there. Terry McLaurin, he's scary, and especially against Carolina, who's 19th against fantasy receivers. Like that matchup a lot. And then we go Bills D. Bills, again, I talked about the matchup being tough for the Titans, but Tony Pollard could have a decent day, but you still like the Bills to capitalize on a lot of mistakes that the Titans put forth. They're dead last in the league in offense as well. So you got to like the Bills in the matchup.
Taking notes once again. I have to say I had a disappointing week last week in my fantasy. I have the Jets D, and it didn't work out so well. I was winning all week, and then boom, done. Like I lost by 3 points. I was so upset.
Tough matchup. You got to play the matchup sometimes, even though they look good. Yeah. It's play the better, the worse offense anyway.
I'm still learning. Like I said, taking notes. So, all right. Do you want to stay on for picks?
Absolutely.
10 more minutes. All right, guys, here for picks for week 7, we've got Ben Troupe, former tight end for the Titans and Buccaneers.
Let's go.
Ben, how are you?
What's up, Jason? I mean, what's up, Deb? But listen, good to be back home with you guys. Let's do it. Let's
go. I'm like, we got to be quick. We have your show coming up right after this. So we had some technical difficulties to begin with. Let's go first with the Pats versus the Jags in London. Two of the worst teams in the NFL right now. Ben, what do you have for this one?
I mean, thank God it's overseas. We don't have to pay good money, and most people are going to be asleep when this game comes on. I just hope the Pats win so that, I think Doug Peterson on the hot seat right now. Give me the Pats beating a Jags team that right now has no identity. I'll go with the
Pats. Jason, what do you got?
Yeah, I reciprocate Ben's thoughts on sleeping in. If I didn't have my own show at 8 a.m., so it was a little plug, I would be asleep too, quite frankly, for this one. But I'm going to go Jags here. The Jags are used to playing in London, quite frankly. So, I thought that last week though too, but I did pick the Bears. I thought at least it'd be a decent game. So maybe I'm over speaking, but the Patriots are in flux right now. So yeah, I got to go Jags.
All right. I liked what I saw to Drake May last game. Have to be honest. I thought he would get destroyed with the O-line. He didn't. He had 3 touchdowns. And Pats looked good against Houston there for a bit. Jags look awful, I think. Trevor Lawrence looks awful. He's 1-10 in the last 11 starts. Defense is soft. Jags are banged up. Doug Peterson, I agree with you, Ben. I think he's going to get fired. I think he's the next coach to go. I feel like the Jags have been in London 2 weeks sightseeing. Jags are 5.5 favored though, but I'm going to go with the Patriots to win here. So, That's me. Let's move on. Lions versus Vikings. Ben, what do you got?
Oh, this is going to be one of the best games I think of the weekend. Sam Darnold, Sam I am. But I know Aiden Hudson is not with Detroit. Detroit is on a mission. Detroit is letting everybody know last year, 2023, was not a fluke. I think it's going to be a nail-biter. Jefferson and Addison and Darnold. I think they just got Cam Akers, over there with the Vikings. Detroit don't like nobody. Detroit is like, look, we respect everybody, but we're going to give me Detroit in a good game, but I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions.
All right. Jason, what do you got?
Ooh-wee. So Vikings lead this series 80-43-2. The Lions swept them last year, actually. They've won 3 in a row in this series. I think it's 4 in a row. Agree with Ben. I do like the Vikings, though, coming off a bye. So as Ben said, this is not going to be no cupcake game. But I think, as Ben said, they look a little bit more on a mission. I feel like more of a complete team. Maybe that's me not still believing in Sam Darnold. Maybe that's what that is too. But I'm going to go Vikings in this one.
All right. I can't wait for this game. It's an important game. Winner takes first place in the NFC North. Vikings are undefeated. They're on fire. The first time they're 5-0 the first time since 2016. Lions only have 1 loss though, and they're doing really, really, really well. But I feel like this game will determine if the Vikings are really legit. I'm scared to see the Lions without Aiden Hutchinson though. I think that's going to be an issue. Vikings are at home and 2.5 favored. I'm going Vikings just because of Hutchinson. That's the only reason. So, do we have time for one more? Do you guys want to do Texans, Packers, or Chiefs?
Yeah, come on.
Let's do it.
All right, Texans, Packers. Ben, what do you have?
Ooh, Jordan Love is playing a lot better, right? People ain't giving, really, really bounced back from that injury. CJ Stroud and company, they're a really, really good squad. I think you got a mixture of the two future faces of the National Football League. But CJ Stroud and company, I think they just got a better all-around team. Once again, just like with the Lions and the Vikings, it's going to be a back-and-forth affair.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with the Texans. They finding their stride. CJ Stroud and company, they know how to get it done. DeMeco Ryans, love the way he coaches. Give me the Texans.
All right. Jason, what do you think?
I can't wait for this one either. I mean, there's a lot of good games, Chiefs, Niners too. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. So what's funny is the Packers are the team that I keep doubting, that keep proving me wrong, and the Texans are the team that I keep thinking are going to do outstanding, and they don't quite go up to expectations. So with that in mind, I'm going to go with the home team here. I'm going to go with the Packers. I keep doubting them, and they keep proving me wrong. They're a good team. I got to get over it. The Texans right now, I feel like are kind of mediocre, quite frankly. So I'm going to go Packers at home.
All right. Actually, I'm agreeing with you. And you guys know how much I love CJ Stroud. But CJ Stroud versus Jordan Love, I'm literally in love. Does anyone have a coin? I could flip a coin here. So the Texans have only defeated Green Bay once in franchise history, which is weird. I feel like Texans have a great rush attack with Joe Mixon, but Packers have a top 10 rushing defense. So game is at Lambeau. Weather could be a factor here. Green Bay is favored by 2.5. I'm agreeing. I'm going Green Bay. Chiefs versus 49ers, and then we'll call it a day.
Sounds good.
And go ahead.
Look, everybody talking about the Super Bowl rematch. Look, it's levels of this, right? Brock Purdy is a real good quarterback, right? George Kittle is still one of top 2 tight ends in the National Football League, depending on who you go, him and Travis Kelce. You talk about IU, talk about Debo. They don't got 15. They don't got Patrick Mahomes. And I think the thing about it is, I think it's going to be a good game. But sometimes Patrick Mahomes says, listen, everybody think I got to, I'm not as good as, as advertised. Okay, well, let's see. It's out there in San Francisco, so San Francisco supposed to have the home field advantage. Who going to block Chris Jones? Nobody. Nobody on earth can block him. Nobody. They don't make human beings that can do what he does. Give me Kansas City. And I think it'll be a good game. But Kansas City will find a way to make a play in the end, and Patrick Mahomes will walk off to the sunset. And if Taylor Swift gonna be at the game, we're gonna have to see her and hear her name about 30 times. But I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs.
So back to the Packers take, a team that I keep doubting, the Kansas City Chiefs, and keep proving me wrong. They just find a way to win games. Niners are really banged up. Debo Samuel right now is questionable. I know Jordan Mason's questionable. Obviously we know Christian McCaffrey's out the mix. And I keep wanting to say the Chiefs are going to drop one. They're just not all that there, but I'm just going to go back on all that I keep saying, and I'm going to pick Chiefs here with Ben. And by the way, it's not just the Super Bowl. This is 4 in a row the Chiefs have beaten the Niners. So just throw that out there as well.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, he's 4-0 in his career versus San Francisco too, and that's including the 2 Super Bowl wins. I have to go KC on this one. Like you said, like both of you just said, the injuries to San Francisco. And KC's coming off of a bye, so they're well rested. I'm going KC for this one. All right, guys, thank you so much. The Blonde Blitz is over, unfortunately, but make sure you tune in for Ben's show, No Weddings in the Fall. It's up next, so keep on watching. And don't forget, the show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Go to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code BLONDE, and we'll double your deposit for $100. Of course, if you guys like today's show, hit subscribe and follow us on all socials at The Blonde Blitz. All right, guys, thanks again. See you next week. Bye.